You are back on the Mountain Morning Show, joined by our friend Bill Humbert, author of Recruiter Guy's Guide to Finding a Job. Welcome back to the show. How have you been, Bill?
Chelsea, I've been well, thank you.
Well, since you've been here last, the leaves are now changing.
They are.
Isn't that crazy?
I noticed it this morning when I was coming up here. I was going, oh, it looks like fall's here.
I know. I don't think I was quite ready for it yet. I was just getting into summer, quite frankly. So I look like I missed that boat.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, when I saw a little bit of snow on the mountains on Saturday
like,
morning,
oh, we're done for.
I said, well, looks like fall's here.
That's right. Well, welcome back to the show. Happy to have you here, Bill. And this morning we're talking about a very important subject and one that's been a rather hot topic. You know, headlines for news, both in print and also broadcast media as well. Workplace bullying, and this is a very important subject, one that can be kind of touchy for some people, and it's hard to define sometimes because I don't remember really hearing about this a decade ago. And so to begin with, there is a statistic that came out in Forbes magazine that was quite striking. Can you tell me about this?
Yeah, David Maxwell was quoted in Forbes that 96% of all the American workforce have at one time or another been exposed to workplace bullying.
That is astronomical. I had no idea it was that high.
And neither did I. You know, I thought 40, 20.
Sure.
You know, but 96%. It's amazing.
That's huge. So nearly everyone feels like they have dealt with that. And the next question leads us to, what is workplace bullying? What falls in that definition?
Well, you know, there are the different harassments that, you know, are illegal that everybody's aware of, the sexual harassment, and you have the racial harassment, the physical harassment, but it goes much, much deeper than that. You know, if you're in a meeting and your manager consistently belittles you in each meeting, that's workplace bullying. If sometimes it goes to the point of sabotaging either you in your work or your reputation. You know, it's just these people who feel the need to belittle somebody else in order to make themselves look good.
Sure. And I wanted to mention too, along with that, we have listed here screaming at employees or ignoring them even ignoring. I've seen that happen. You know, when occasionally I'll go in, you know, as a consultant, I go in and out of companies. So I get to see a lot of different managers, a lot of different companies and cultures and different businesses and industries and all of that. And occasionally I'll see a person address their manager and have the manager totally ignore them. And that's what my eyes do. They go up to and they go, "Are you kidding me? How can you be their manager and ignore them?" Well, at first when you shared that statistic, 96% of people feel that they've been bullied. When you broaden that definition, because those things really are included in there, but traditionally we just never really maybe put those in there before.
Right.
And they are. That is bullying.
Yep, it absolutely is, yeah.
All right. So where is workplace bullying common? Where are we seeing this? You
know, it's everywhere. And it's happening in very surprising places too. You know, for instance, academia, you see it there. You see it in science. You know, Albert Einstein was bullied when he presented his theory of relativity. All the scientists who didn't believe him said really nasty things about Albert Einstein. And you know, you see it in medicine. My wife's a nurse, and she says, you know, she's seen many times where the older nurses eat their young. And so they just tear into them. And, you know, you see it everywhere in business. It's, you know, you'll hear about it at times. You hear about the screaming. Sometimes you'll hear about, you know, sometimes even fisticuffs.
Exactly. Wow. And then next up, I mean, this is kind of a personal question, but have you ever experienced workplace bullying, and kind of what have you brought from that experience?
Well, the first time I experienced it was in a summer job in a lumberyard, and a union steward took me behind a stack of lumber, and he had a 2x4 hidden behind it, and I was only going to work there for another 3 or 4 weeks. And he was trying to intimidate me into joining the union. And I was bringing home maybe $150 a week, and they wanted me to take $20 a week out for union dues. And he was pounding the 2x4 on the lumber, threatening me
oh my gosh.
if I didn't join the union. But the problem with me that he didn't realize was that I've got a stubborn Irish streak in me. And so I turned it around and threatened him.
Wow.
And I heard from somebody else in the union a little bit later that day that he decided I was crazy. And I said, well, you just keep making him believe that.
Wow.
But I've also had it a couple times professionally where, as a consultant, I've brought bad news to an executive, and that executive just lit off and started screaming at me. And you know, the best way to handle that, in my mind, going all the way back to the lumberyard, is to just be very calm and quiet. And now the way I handle it is I say, do you feel better? I just let them scream. And then I ask them, do you feel better?
That's such a good response. Do you feel good about yourself now? How do you feel after you just screamed at me?
That's right.
Oh gosh, makes them feel great, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, you know, nobody ever does that to them.
Yeah.
And so I just go, you know, these are the issues. We have to work on these things, and you know, go forward.
All right. So how exactly can executives or those in human resources identify this? How do they even go about determining where this is going on? Because in some areas it's kind of shady in terms of really determining, oh, is that bullying or is it not?
Well, you know, pay attention. Pay attention to the people that are working for you. You know, let's say you hire somebody who's full of vim and vigor, they're really enthusiastic, they're excited about what they're doing, and let's say that this manager is belittling their ideas in meetings. Well, you're going to see their attitude go the other way. And so they'll become less engaged, and engagement is a huge issue in human resources today. So they'll become less engaged. Screaming is hard to hide. Anyone around that office knows there's screaming going on, including probably, you know, if it's an executive, the executive staff is usually somewhere nearby, so they know. If you have heavy turnover, is it one group that you're experiencing that turnover? Maybe need some focus on that group.
And explore that a little bit more. And then one of the bigger issues with this comes down to actually really the success of your company, which has a lot to do with the morale of your employees. So what is the cost that we're looking at here when it comes to recruitment and how your employees feel about their job?
You know, Chelsea, that's a great question. And it's really difficult to provide any kind of metrics, but the study that I've done, I've seen numbers that go from $100 million to over $1 billion lost in productivity, because what happens is these people who are being abused, after a period of time, they start taking time off from work just to stay away from work. Their ideas that maybe would have been key to making that company just shoot, the ideas are just getting underneath the carpet, underneath the table, and pretty soon they're going to stop giving those ideas. From a recruitment perspective, there's a whisper campaign that goes on. You know, everybody knows 250 people. And somebody says at a party, how's work? It's terrible. My boss is constantly belittling my ideas, and you know, I'm looking to get out of here. Well, that gets spread through a community pretty quickly. And all of a sudden now the company has a more difficult time attracting the really good performers. Well,
that company will develop a reputation, you know, around town or like I said, that community, and it won't bring good employees to you because no one wants that type of environment.
Yeah, who wants to live that way?
Wow. So the last thing and most important of all, how do you stop this when you see it going on, whether you are, you know, as myself, I'm not in an executive position or a human resources position, but what if I see that? And also, what's the first thing we do? Who do we talk to about that?
You know, many times in my experience, just addressing the person calmly who's belittling you or who's screaming at you, just addressing them calmly and just say, you know, I understand where you're coming from. I understand the pressure you're under. however, we have to work through this somehow. What are your expectations? And get them talking about that. And sometimes what will happen is, since you've taken a stand in a nice, calm way, they're not going to bother you anymore. Because the one thing a bully likes is a person who kowtows to them, but a bully more respects somebody who stands up to them and just calmly has a conversation with them. So that's number one. But if you've tried that time and again and it's not working, now you got to go to HR, now you got to go to an executive, and then you have to have a conversation with them and just say, this is what I've done up until now.
Okay, very good. Well, anything else to add this morning, Bill?
Yeah, something really important. Today, Miners Day, is Linda and my 41st anniversary.
Oh, that's so wonderful. That's right. That's so wonderful.
Yep.
That's so awesome. I'm so glad you shared that with our viewers.
Yeah,
Congratulations
pretty excited about that.
to you and your wife.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing. Do you have any fun plans? You get the day off.
Get the day off. Yep. And we're going to go to get up there to the parade and the running of the balls and just do our Miners Day celebration.
How neat. Oh, that's so special. Man, you'll be at 50 pretty soon here.
Sneaking up on us.
No, that's so wonderful. Oh, that's so neat. Thank you for sharing that. And Bill, thank you for the work and the interesting information that you always share with us here on the show. Remind our viewers one last time, where can we get your book?
It's at Dolly's, so if you're up there for the parade, go into Dolly's, pick up my book. And it's also on Amazon.
Excellent. Well, thank you, sir. Nice to have you here today. Enjoy your Labor Day.
Thank you, Chelsea. You too.
Thanks. We'll be right back after this commercial break. When we are talking about the Homestead concert series and also giving you a little preview of Miners Day as well. All that in just a moment.